Well, there is a version of this cookie which is just basically chocolate overload, and it's the fudgy cookie with chocolate chips. And I will be making that one because that just sounds like heaven. I think peanut butter, don't put this in the recording, I think peanut butter tastes
I'm
like
totally
butt.
using that as the intro.
Yeah.
You're listening to Fussy Cutters Club podcast, a show that gives you permission to cut into the good fabric so you can make quilts you love. And now your host, who believes it's not a crime to love using novelty fabrics, Ange Wilson.
Thanks for joining me on a very special episode of Fussy Cutters Club. This is the Bake Club episode. Today I'm joined by Sam from Hunter's Design Studios and Cath from Wombat Quilts because we are all bound by a love of quilting and a love of baking. Now, I know they don't seem to go together and you've probably tuned in because you're a quilter, but we all know that creatives like quilters often have more than one outlet for that creativity. And I'm very fortunate that these two quilters share a love of baking with me. And so today we're going to talk about baking, a little challenge that we've set for ourselves, and what that has to do with quilting, and a little bit of life talk as well. I hope you enjoy. Let's get chatting. Hello, Bake Club. Today we're with Sam Hunter from Hunter's Design and Cath from Wombat Quilts. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Our first meeting.
Hello.
Our first meeting. I'll open it officially. We should have snacks.
I do, except for they're not cake.
Oh.
I've got nuts.
I've got my snack, Nurofen, because I'm under the weather today. I know.
Oh.
I have to be on pain medication to talk to you guys. That's how it works. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Usually takes chocolate for me to
Look how big the bowl is. Okay. All right.
Oh, there's nothing. There is another huge container which is full of all the weird Christmas ones.
We have a
because where I work, they when they didn't sell, I get my exercise by working at Target, and so they put out, and it's American Target, not Australian Target, 2 different beasts, but they put out all the Christmas candy that didn't sell, and I bought home like gingerbread and snickerdoodle and maple lint balls and so this is a weird combination of
Okay. Let's formally bring together the first meeting of Bake Club. So Bake Club is formed around the fact that we, the three of us, well, Sam's British but living in Portland,
America.
Oregon.
Portland, Oregon.
And
I'm half and half.
Half and half.
Half and half.
I'm British born Australian married to an American.
Cath's just taken it that extra step, and then and then I'm just an Aussie. So it's a weird little combination we've got going on here. So Bake Club was formed out of the fact that we all loved baked goods, and so we decided Sam sent out an email, because if you're not on Sam's email list, you should, and I'll put a link in the show notes, sent out an email that raved about snacking cakes by Yossi Arafai? Is that how you say it? Arafi? Oh, that's cool. Arafi.
We don't actually know how to say your name, but hey.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to blame Australianness on that. I butcher the English language. So you raved about snacking cakes in your email, and I will not pass up a baked goods recipe book. So I jumped on Amazon, followed the link, jumped on Amazon, bought snacking cakes, and on the way out through the Amazon checkout, because they're really good at the would you like fries with that, I bought snacking bakes.
I had just found out that it had been released, released 3 or 4 days before I wrote that email, because I was typing it into the Amazons, and I was like, no, not bakes, cakes, people, come on. Who's been searching for this on the wrong one?
And while you people have been having that conversation, I just ordered snacking cakes on Amazon, quite literally, as you were having that conversation.
Well, what made me get snacking cakes, and I don't even remember where I caught this review right, is someone in the review said, I started at the beginning and I'm making them in order and there hasn't been a dud yet.
That's a really good review.
That's a good review.
And I have not done it in order, but I have not made a dud out of this book yet, and I've made quite a few of them.
Yeah, but that gave us the idea because then, Cath, you got snacking bakes for Christmas.
Well, that was because Sam bought out snacking bakes at one of our group events.
No, I got it for my birthday. You were at my birthday.
You had it for your birthday, yeah, but it was a group event. It was like at
Nancy's house.
You got it at Nancy and Matthew's. And I'm like, oh, I will get that.
Let's bake together.
Let's bake together. And
then I said that to you.
And here we are.
Yeah.
I said that to you, and then you're like, but I want to join in.
Yes.
But here's the thing about the gift of snacking bakes. So, little story. Nancy and Matthew, the friends that are noted, and occasionally Cath and Nick, we all go to a very specific pub on Friday nights, most of the time. And a couple of years ago, we took pie for someone's birthday, and then we gave the rest of the kitchen, which they loved. It's a very small place, very family-run. They're good friends. And out of that has born that Sam bakes on Fridays to go to the pub. So when they presented me with my snacking bakes, it was presented to me with tabs in it of the suggestions of what I should be baking next.
That's a good gift. Yep. So that gave us the idea, and here we are. And I guess the premise that we're going to do is we're going to work through snacking bakes this entire year, 2024. Yeah. And then we're going to get together and talk about what we've made in amongst shenanigans and fabric talk and quilt talk, because we are all quilters, yeah?
We are, yeah.
Yeah. do you want to see what my snacking bakes are sitting on? See?
It's cut out fabric and her cutting station.
That's why I was a little late, because I got slightly caught up in the cutting of the fabric thing.
So, as you can tell, this is going to be a bit of a wild ride. So, we've made a list of all there's 63 recipes, 62 recipes in the book, and we're going to make at least one, sometimes two per week. Now, I have a confession to make. I haven't baked for the first week of January, so we're off to a cracking start. I did bake yesterday. I baked for the church kids club that's this week. I baked condensed milk biscuits, which I think in America they call cookies.
Cookies.
And I'll put a link to that recipe because it's really good. We got 70 cookies out of the mixture, and my mum got 94. So depending on what size you roll your balls.
More than I want your cookies, not your mum's cookies.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Mum I made mine. Do you remember Freckles, Ellen's Freckles, Cath?
Yes.
So they're little chocolate discs with hundreds and thousands. I don't know whether Americans have hundreds and thousands, but round sprinkles.
We call them sprinkles out here.
Yeah, on top. So we rolled out the mixture and then pushed a freckle into the top. So it's like a choc drop, whereas my mum mixed through chocolate chip and cornflakes and stuff in hers so that her mixture probably went as far, but the mixes made it different. Yeah, them things.
I found these at
Trade.
My local Fred Meyer's.
Okay, we'll put a link to Freckles and stuff, and I'll have a look and see if I can find that on Fred Meyer's.
Those are okay. That's not sprinkles.
These are called non-pareil chips. Non-pareil. They're made in Canada. I was so excited when I found Freckles.
So
those are Freckles.
We used them on the top of so we made the cookie ball and then pushed the freckle into the top so that when the cookie baked, it spread out a bit. And then you get like a bite of chocolate with every bite of cookie. So
here in the States, they do that a lot with Hershey Kisses. Like you make the cookie and you shove the Hershey Kiss in the top. Yeah.
Look. It's not good chocolate. Well, for those of you who think Hershey's is sweet dog do.
Our first controversial opinion for the show.
Sweet dog do.
It's not controversial.
It's not good chocolate. It's really not good chocolate.
I'm not even sure it could be classified.
No, well, okay,
by
Hershey's was
most.
developed to give to the American servicemen, and it was developed in a way that it wouldn't melt. Okay,
Well,
so
that's
it's...
Yeah, but that's Australian chocolate as well. Australian chocolate tastes different because it's got a chemical in it which makes its melting point higher. So if you buy a block of dairy milk chocolate in Australia, it tastes different than the UK, and which tastes different from the US.
Well,
but the Australian taste difference is mainly because of
melting
that
point. Yeah, Hershey's was made for American servicemen, and it's kind of the cheapest chocolate there is because there's so much wax in it, or whatever chemicals we call wax. And it was so that they could have it in their backpack and it wouldn't come apart. And what's interesting is people got used to that taste, and they don't actually want it to change. Okay, they don't actually really want to upgrade it. For me, the difference between Cadbury's Dairy Milk between Britain and the United States is, in Britain it's like creamier and less sweet, and in the States it's less creamy and more sweet. There's a much higher sugar point all the time for me in American candy and American baking. And I frequently take a quarter of the sugar out of American recipes.
Ooh. Yeah. I'll have that quarter of sugar then.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, like, because I bake out of Australian Women's Weekly cookbooks, Donna Hay, and then I have a collection of American, and the sugar is always much more in the American. But it's interesting because I bake and take to work, or I bake and Nick takes to work, and the Australian recipes always go down a treat. Everyone loves the fact that they're not so sweet, they're not so clory on the so much sugar. It's so I love baking out of my Aussie recipes.
Well, ironically, that's one of the reasons I jumped on snacking cakes, is because it's a very American flavor profile compared to our Aussie cookbooks. And so I thought it would be an interesting thing to try different flavor combinations. And so one of the first ones I made out of snacking cakes was the donut cake.
And my favorite cake out of there. It's awesome.
Yeah, I made it for Bible study on a Sunday night and with my family, and it threw me because the icing is melted butter with brushed over the top, and then powdered or icing sugar sifted over the melted butter. And then over the week that you've got that cake, I say week, the 2 days that it lasts, the icing sugar kind of just absorbs into the cake. So yeah, it was a big hit. And for Christmas, my auntie didn't want a gift. She wanted me to bake her that cake. So being a great niece I am, accommodated that. But so interesting. So you guys have
made that one. I made that one a lot, and I often like to serve it in the morning when friends come over to sew, and I serve it warm. And then for me, it's like cut it out and butter it, and then eat it.
Oh, see, when it comes out of the oven, I level the cake, and so I take the domed bit off the base, and then I just sit there and eat the crummy bit off the top but I bake mine.
But don't you do that for all cakes? That was how I was taught to level cakes. You level the cake while it's still warm, and then you hide the evidence.
No, I don't normally level.
That was
so this one I make in a bundt tin, because a donut cake should be circular, and I normally wouldn't even level it. It's just that when it comes out of the oven, it smells so good. Normally what I do is just flip the cake and then chock it underneath with icing so it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, so little secret that we don't know, you guys probably don't know about Sam, is I professionally decorated cakes for a while at one point in my life. And the first key is straight-sided pans. But what we were taught, or what I was taught in cake school, I mean, this is like community cake school, so I went to baking school, is when you get the cake out of the oven is to cool it on its top because it'll flatten it. Yeah. And then you have a flat top to work with. And when you put them together, you put the tops inside together because they can afford to be weird, and then you've got a good flat base and a good flat top. But I cook all of these in the 8-inch pan that she recommends. So, or not
Yeah.
the pan. She recommends. I use a vintage 8-inch Fire King, which is like Pyrex but different company. I use a vintage 8-inch dish. So
Yeah, well, that was
plastic.
the other thing. When I went and ordered the books, I then ordered the pans that she recommended as well. And so now we have American cake tins because they are quite different to Aussie. We tend to do they're a lot, and it might be just a rookie thing with me that I've not spent a lot of time investigating pans, but the pans from America are commercial grade cake baking, slice baking tins, and they're a lot thicker than the ones that we use here. And so I went all in. I was like, I am going to Americanize the fluff out of these bakes. So it'll be interesting to see whether I still have the pillowing, the doming thing. But it does bring us to the other thing. For Christmas, Sam very generously bought Cath and I Fire King baking dishes so we can all bake together the same way. I'm still waiting for mine Australia Post if you're listening. And Cath has hers, but we're going to share photos of the dishes as well so you guys can see what we're baking with. And the dishes all speak to our personalities, which is really cute too.
Very much so.
So you guys have baked already from the snacking bakes. Cath,
Yes.
do you want to tell us what you've made?
So far what I made was I decided just to dip my feet before we officially decided what we wanted to do. I wanted to do the one that appealed to me the most, and that was the frosted lemon lime sugar cookie bars. But I didn't make the lemon lime. What I love about this book is a lot of the recipes have flavor variations. And so I thought that I wasn't cheating or baking ahead if I make a variation
Yep.
or two. So that way I can still make the lemon lime one when we come around to it, but I've already made the rainbow sprinkle one and I made the strawberry sugar one. So, and I may possibly have bought freeze-dried raspberries to make a raspberry version too. And I'm going to do a pineapple version because I've got to see if the pineapple works.
So dried pineapple or fresh pineapple?
So it's all freeze-dried. So I went to the store and found all the freeze-dried fruit that they had, and I'm going to make the cookie in each because they just do the strawberry one. It's like, well, okay, strawberry, yeah, but have you done pineapple? Have you done apple? Have you done raspberry? So I'm going to
branch out
because I'm going to branch out because that cookie, I made that cookie and I made both of them on the same day. And so I made one lot. What I loved about it is the hand mixing means that you're not mixing using your mixer.
You don't have to do the dishes.
And so you don't have to do the dishes. So I just grabbed another bowl and mixed up a second lot while the first lot was in the oven. So I made those both on the same day. My husband held half of each lot ransom. He felt that they needed to not leave the house, and then half of it went to work, and they did not last long. And there were much debate about which one was the best. The rainbow sprinkles thing is something very American. They do a lot of birthday cakes and things like that with the rainbow sprinkles. So everyone was referring to it as the birthday cake cookie, and everyone loved the birthday cake cookie. My favorite was the strawberry. But I'd never used the freeze-dried fruit before, and that just – the flavor's amazing. I assume that you can get freeze-dried fruit in Australia.
We can. So did you crush it into a powder?
I used my husband's Vitamix. His smoothie the next day tasted extra strawberry. But, yeah, I just crushed it into a really fine powder and, you use it in both the cookie dough and the frosting.
Oh, that's good.
And it's great. It's an intense flavour. I was skeptical that you'd really taste the fruit. But, yeah, there's something about freeze-drying is just,
So
really
I think it's funny
good.
that your first non-bake club bake was the lemon lime cookies because that's the one I bought ingredients for before we formed Bake Club because that was the one I was going to make. She had me at lemon lime. It's a classic combination that I love. So, and what about you, Sam? You made something for pub club, as I'm now affectionately calling it.
Pub night, and I was working off the list that I was given. Okay, so the first one I made was triple chocolate olive oil brownies. They were good. They had a really great thick, chunky fudginess to them.
Yep.
And I had a moment of wondering if I had overcooked them, but I was assured by everybody that there were no problems involved at all. And then the next one that I made, because there's been several pub nights since I've been given the book, was mocha banana cake, which is page 151. And that one had everybody raving. There's banana in the cake, and then the icing was made with coffee in it. And it's like the coffee and the banana were both very present, but neither of them were overwrought, which I really like because, despite sounding like an American, I sometimes find that when Americans find a flavor they like, they go way beyond with it. Like American cinnamon rolls to me are so cinnamony. Like cinnamon is a flavor that I feel like American cuisine puts it on steroids, and I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing. But I'm British, so I tend to like nutmeg, right? As an alternate flavor to cinnamon. So I also think it's country driven. But the mocha banana cake came out really well. And the only thing that I would say, listeners, if you're going to try this guy, it says to start the bake at 35 to 45 minutes. And I tested it at 35, and it was definitely done. I would start testing at 25, but also it asks for very, very ripe bananas, and I did not have sloppy ripe bananas. And I have a feeling that had I had that more liquidy banana in there, I probably would have been fine at 35. So it depends where your bananas are at on that one, is what I would say.
Yeah, I had with the cookies, I think it was actually the pan we were cooking in, the fact that we were cooking in glass and not metal. Yeah. I needed to leave the cookies in for another 2-3 minutes. They just weren't quite there. And I think that was the pan.
And the author covers off the pros and cons of glass versus metal in the equipment section. So
were we supposed to read that?
Were we supposed to read that?
Somebody was reading it because I wasn't. I was just like, where's the recipes? Let's get going here.
Yeah. It's like,
I'm like, she's got pictures of flour.
I never read the beginning bit. The beginning bit's
Can I just say,
it's like, don't get to
you
the
guys
meat.
are quintessential quilters. I'm sorry, is there instructions that I should read before I start cutting?
Yeah. Let me just email it and go, hi, what's wrong with this? And I'm like, well, did you read the instructions on page 1? Because I did cover that.
Well, that was how I knew what pans she recommended, fellas.
No, I just let right in.
Yeah, look, I really savour a good recipe book, and she's got heaps of tips and tricks at the front of the book on how to mix stuff, how to melt stuff, how to pick substitutes as well. And she's got what I love is a cravings matrix. So on page 10 and 11 at the front, Cath.
Oh, wow. At the front. I wondered why the recipes didn't start until page. I thought there's a lot of fluff.
Oh my
in that.
goodness!
The recipes start on page 36. It's like what the? Yeah, skipped all that. Okay.
This author has slaved over making sure that everyone makes great
and here
recipes.
We are ignoring her instructions.
Yeah. So yeah. I would highly recommend reading the front of the book because
No
and
tips
she even
for
covers
homework?
freeze-dried fruit, Cath.
But then I wouldn't have had the wonder of learning it myself.
That's true.
She's very self-taught.
But I mean, but also she does. I've noticed give a very good how to make a parchment sling. Which
if you'd read the front, you wouldn't have had the sticky cookies.
I didn't. Well, yeah, I didn't. Well, no, I didn't do that for the first lot of cookies I made, and they were cut and served from the glass pan. the joys of glass. You know, the knife didn't scrape it or anything. But I made a sling for the second one. So, I learnt that.
The sling is...
But if I'd read the book, I wouldn't have had to learn that.
The sling is actually brilliant because, again, we take it to pub night, and I take it in the dish that it's made in with the sling. And what we do is we get the kitchen to just hand us a plate, and we pop the sling out and put it on the plate so that they can take it back. And then I get to take my own dish home, right? And so the sling has been an integral part of learning with these two books. Is like I'm slinging everything now, just because it means moving it around is a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah. So I'm glad I was able to bring something to the table, pardon the pun. You guys have baked like 3 recipes. I've baked none, but I've read the front of the book.
Read the book. Well, I made one more that we didn't talk about. It's on page 70, Fudgy Sesame Oat Cookie. It's actually a no-bake. So oatmeal and chocolate and butter and all that. And it's interesting because it's made with tahini and it's garnished with sesame seed. And I didn't really find that the tahini flavor came forward, although the creaminess of the tahini did. But one of the alternates is peanut butter. And an extraordinarily American flavor, and one that all of my pub mates absolutely adore. So if I came back to this recipe, I would peanut butter it for them in a heartbeat. But like Cath,
you're coming back to it, right? We're cooking through the book.
Are we all going to do
like
the same
starting
thing at the
on
same
page
time?
36?
Yeah, I'm easy, Japanesey. So
I heard that about you.
You read that in the
I did,
Quilt
in the
Market bathroom stalls. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because I went and bought my peanut butter chips.
Struth, do I need peanut butter chips?
No, there's actually variations for it, which are really interesting and which I'm also going to make, because I don't make one lot. I'm making 2 lots. There's the Rocky Road one, which has got walnuts, chocolate chips, and mini marshmallows. Yeah. And I've got a bag that I've been hoarding and is getting close to its use by date, so it needs to be used, of Pascal's marshmallows. So I'm going to chop them up into mini marshmallows and put them in the cookies.
So here's my confession for our meeting. I don't do coffee in any format. The smell of coffee actually gives me a really bad headache. And so I'll be substituting coffee in a lot of these places. And I'm getting ahead. I'm jumping ahead. And I don't really do marshmallows. But I think I might make the Rocky Road one and see if my mum likes it. But I'll do the peanut butter. It's going to give me an excuse. There's a store so I live in Townsville, North Queensland, which is it's a regional town. It's not a capital city or a metropolitan area or anything like that. So getting some of this stuff, I'm either going to have to order it off Amazon or pray that someone here's got it. But I found in my first few weeks living up here, there's a store that does all American stuff. So maybe they'll have the Reese's peanut butter.
Well, there is a version of this cookie which is just basically chocolate overload, and it's the fudgy cookie with chocolate chips. And I will be making that one because that just sounds like heaven. I think peanut butter, don't put this in the recording, I think peanut butter tastes like
I'm totally
butt.
using that as the intro.
Yeah, I think you should. But
I hate the taste of peanut butter. I'm okay. I like satay sauce.
Yeah, love a good satay.
Love a good satay. But peanut butter and the Americans' fascination with peanut butter and chocolate, I do not understand. I'm nearly 20 years in here and I'm like, no, this is...
Well, I'm 40 years in here and I bake the peanut butter bakes for the friends, but I could take or leave them.
Oh, well, I'll be the peanut butter monkey for this bake club because I don't eat peanut butter. I think peanut butter on bread is a naff combination. I don't get it at all. But I love a good peanut butter biscuit. And I found in my few jaunts to the US, I actually don't mind a good peanut butter combo, but I think I have to be picky. Again, it's a different palate kind of thing. So
have you tried peanut butter and Marmite? It's really good.
Ooh, no.
I'm sorry, Vegemite. I'm sorry. I forgot what I was talking to there. No, seriously, peanut butter and Marmite is really good.
When we're together when we're together next year, when we're together this year, we shall eat it together. I'll take one for the team and try.
I will not be there, and all I can say is thank God for small blessings.
You could be. I didn't say where we were meeting.
No.
I didn't say where we were meeting.
Oh no, peanut. Well, no, peanut butter and Vegemite. I'm avoiding that like the plague. Oh, I did find my jar of Vegemite.
Oh, yep.
Last week. Angie, you'll be pleased to know it cost me $10 American.
That's like 17 Australian dollars. How many grams? Oh, I could have posted it to you for cheaper.
No. It's so we had the jar that I was replacing. We had for years, but my husband recently discovered that Vegemite is fabulous, and he's putting it on everything. So I went to make gravy the other day because I only mainly use Vegemite to make gravy, unless I'm sick, and then I do toast and Vegemite. And I had to use a spatula to get the last of the Vegemite out. He completely wiped me out of Vegemite because they've been doing avocado toast and Vegemite, eggs and Vegemite. And it's like...
Yep. Has he found the cheese and Vegemite? That's my dad's favourite. Cheese and Vegemite on toast. And you can't do what we call in our house affectionately plastic cheese, so like Kraft singles. You can't do plastic cheese. You have to do like really strong, tasty.
Nice strong cheddar.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if a cheddar would be. Anyway, we're not the savoury club. We're the bake club.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so yes, we've got off track.
That'll be our spin-off.
Yeah,
so
we're
going to do
Try Vegemite and Marmite, people. And no, don't put it on like peanut butter.
No, and spread it thin. Really, I will put a link to how to make good
Marmite.
Yeah. So do you want to do the first two recipes this week?
Was that chocolate peanut butter brownie cookies and thick chewy oatmeal raisin cookies?
Yep. Because we have to, a couple of weeks, we have to do two to get through all year.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll do that. Actually, because we're not meeting again, we're going to meet every month, God willing. So we will have to make at least four. At least 4.
4 or 5.
Okay. Yeah, because that'll include the soft grapefruit cookie, and I'm not going to do grapefruit. I'm going to do lemon, and I'm going to play. Yeah. She doesn't have it there, but she's got a grapefruit poppy seed, and I'm like, oh, lemon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm going to play with that recipe.
And I think we should have permission to, like, note out of things that we think are awful. Like, you know, like
What was that?
Sam wants to buy.
I want to buy. I want permission to go, I am so not making the cookies that have the M&Ms in them because I don't like them. You know?
But I think if you nope out, you have to substitute for like any other recipe. Like not from this book, but you have to at least bake.
Any other recipe?
Yeah.
I'm ready for the M&M cookies.
Cath is showing us
where did we get purple M&Ms?
Oh, those were Halloween M&Ms. So I wanted my rainbow to be inclusive. So it's got purple, it's got a lime green in there. It's got more colours than the standard rainbow.
Awesome.
Because I wanted a full rainbow.
See, we don't get that here.
I will happily make cake whenever I don't want to make cookies. So.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. We could just subby a cake one in. I don't know why I'm showing you the book. You have it.
I have the book.
Yeah, I will have it. Amazon will be delivering it to me tomorrow.
Oh,
so I
miss
have it.
Amazon delivery.
I have the mini M&Ms as well.
So the candy to chocolate ratio is wrong in those. You know what?
Oh, really? I like the candy to
but they're great.
Okay.
No, they're great in cookies,
that's my
though,
thing. They're really good for baking.
You get more. Yeah, you get more.
I need to go find Smarties.
Bite.
Yep.
Instead of M&Ms, like use British Smarties. Yeah. British Smarties are M&Ms for those people that don't know British candy. It's not the little tiny like sherbety pastel things that are called Smarties in the States. Okay, Smarties are like
it's not the
it's not chocolate. Yeah. It's chocolate. It's a totally different flavor. The candy is thinner, and it's a.
But I propose to you that replacing M&Ms with Smarties in a bake is a waste of perfectly good Smarties.
Yeah, because the shell's too thin.
No, I just think Smarties are good, like, by the handful. and they're hard to find here. So why would you throw them in a cookie?
Oh, I know what you're saying. If I'm going to find Smarties,
what I'm saying is throw M&Ms in. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Smarties come in me and go in my belly. M&Ms go in cookies.
Okay, I got the translation there.
I do prefer Nestle.
More Smarties.
I do prefer Nestle chocolate to Mars chocolate because the Mars Confectionery Company owns M&M.
Yeah. I think Smarties are they're a superior candy. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy to bake with M&Ms because that way the chances, it's like I'll make the peanut butter cookies because the chances of me eating them all is slim to none. And this is good because if we're doing this every week, I need to bake some things I won't eat so that.
That's why I reckon it's great that we all bake and take. Because there's heaps of people in our circles that are going to benefit from a year of baking. Which I really, I'm a big feeder, so I love feeding other people. And so I'm really looking forward to dropping them into various places and letting them enjoy them.
And just a heads up, here and there, if I see the opportunity to do it, I'm going to test it in gluten-free.
Yeah, well, that's what I really like about her book too, is there's a couple of gluten-free options and
there's a couple of vegan options.
I love
that banana cake was vegan, although they said vegan butter, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
It's real butter in my house, but I don't have any friends that are specifically vegan to accommodate. So
I've got in-laws that are vegan, so I can just ship it all to them. But in the vegan bakes in particular, she notes not to put, in one of them at least, not to put real butter in because it won't work.
Oh, yep.
Like there's something in the vegan butter that
for it,
Yeah. I like sneaking vegan bakes in so that I can at least justify that the kid's eating healthier than he would be. I mean, we all need the fats and stuff. Oh, yeah, big discussion. Anyway.
Yeah. That's a whole nother podcast.
And I'm not entering into that melee.
No, this isn't about nutrition. No. This is about fun.
Yes.
Yes.
And all the nutritional coaches have just... Because they're like, nutrition is fun, people.
I know, it's really good. It's like, Happy New Year. We're going to tell you how to bake calories and love them. It's not Happy New Year. Now you get thrown into a season of self-denial.
Bake calories and shove them off on other people.
No, because I was thinking, I call this the Tongan principle, right? Because in Tonga, the median weight of the Tongan population is quite high. And so I'm putting the Tongan principle into effect. If I fatten up everyone around me, in comparison, I won't look as chunky because everybody else will help distribute the visual effect of chunkiness. I know.
Genius.
Evil genius. It reminds me of that Blackadder, where Baldric, where you go, I've got a plan so cunning, if it had a tail, it'd be a fox. That's...
Yes, I always ask if the plan is cunning. Is it a cunning plan? Most of the time the answer is no.
Kath,
yes, it must be a cunning plan.
You'd understand this one being Aussie, but when I go to like my husband or my parents or something, I'm going to do this, and undoubtedly one of them will go, that's a courageous decision. And it's from Yes Prime Minister and Yes Minister. Oh, actually, Sam, you might. I don't know why I thought those two shows were Australian, but they're actually British. But yes, so we often get courageous decisions in our house.
Oh, that would be lovely. Cath is trying to drag me into giving up all my streaming services for BritBox and Acorn. She thinks I haven't watched BritBox and Acorn yet, because I still go to small British villages and imagine that I might not be murdered. So, yeah.
Well, I just introduced my parents to BritBox, and they are addicted.
My husband last year as a present gave me a VPN, and it's the best gift he has ever given me. So I get my murder porn direct from the source, which means I get my murder porn either from the UK or my neighbour just put me on to an Aussie one,
Stan?
which I've just started. No, it's a program. It's a rip-off of Broadchurch, and it's set in Tasmania. I'm having a brain fart, and I'm about
it's
6
named
eps
after
in.
a place in Tasmania, I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
Deadlock.
Is that the
Deadlock.
one where the language is a little bit? Yep.
The language is spicy.
Yep. And it's
but that in itself is a pleasant experience when everything's so very sanitized here.
Deadlock is, and again, I will put the links to everything, but Deadlock is very Australian. Very Australian.
Very. And it took me a beat to actually relax and go, oh no, this is not serious. This is okay. Because I was like, ooh. And then I'm like, oh no, this is meant to be funny. I'm meant to be laughing.
Yep.
Laugh now. And now I laugh. But the first episode I was like, oh, I shouldn't laugh. Yeah,
it's like listening to Shakespeare. You need a couple of minutes to acclimatise your ear to the language, and then you understand the rhythm and the cadence and the joking of it all. But yeah, BritBox. Did anybody watch the first? Now we're really off topic. But did anybody watch the Christmas special from the BBC for Doctor Who? It's on Disney Plus. David Tennant and Catherine Tate come back. I'm not telling you spoilers. It's on the picture. It's good. Check it out. First 4 episodes.
Because it introduces the new Doctor.
Who's lovely.
Because I just saw an interview with the new Doctor as to why he's in underpants.
Yep.
Yes.
So, but Sam, you're not a Doctor Who fan. Oh, no, you are. You did a Doctor Who TARDIS.
I am. I have
which
a
we'll
TARDIS
link to.
pattern.
Yeah.
And just so you know, guys, any of the TARDIS, Doctor Who, Star Wars patterns that I sell, all of the proceeds and then some, like I don't make any money at all on them. I even pay the fees, go to organizations that support women in technology.
Oh, now you just bring the tone down by being lovely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I've actually thought because, my Doctor Who, and we are going to come back to food here, was Tom Baker, Mr. Jelly Babies.
Yes.
Jelly Babies, right? And I actually knitted one of those scarves for my first husband when we were courting. 20 feet of acrylic scarf in rainbow colors. But yeah, I've gotten involved in bits and pieces of Doctor Who. When I went to college in Britain, I had a teacher who claimed he was on the design team of the Daleks. Which is why I did the Dalek first. I thought the Dalek was far more interesting than the TARDIS, and I did the Dalek, and everybody was like, where the hell's the TARDIS? And it was like, okay, we'll do the TARDIS. But I've been thinking about, David Tennant was wearing a really beautiful enamel pin that had the TARDIS in all of the colorways of, I could never get all the letters right, L, B, G, T, Q, I, A, plus, etc. in it. And somebody, kind of offhandedly, like, what's all that about? And he said, well, this is about inclusion. And I honestly thought about writing an addendum to the TARDIS to put a rainbow background into it, if people wanted to go into that inclusionary aspect of what Doctor Who is trying to do, and just give them a path to it, and not actually change the actual physical TARDIS in the pattern, but like rework the markings for the background so that you could put layers of color in, and do it in.
I think you need to do a David Tennant one.
What's it?
Just as a David Tennant fan, like a life-size David Tennant that I could sleep under, I'd be happy with that. I'm just saying.
Right.
Have you seen David Tennant and Michael Sheen's stage?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Brilliant,
staged.
right? Brilliant.
Oh my gosh.
It is a lesson in the long-form joke because they start the joke in episode 1 and they don't finish the joke until the last episode of season 1. Like, there's 3 seasons now, I think. But it's a long-form joke. It's in the line of when Billy Connolly used to tell jokes on stage where he'd get up and he'd start the joke and then he'd meander off into all this other nonsense and then he'd finish the punchline just before he walked off stage, which was a really great lesson in storytelling. But I'm showing my age. Everyone else be out there Googling going, who the hell's Billy Connolly?
Billy Connolly's brilliant. Actually, there's a really good bit of Graham Norton talking to David Tennant. David Tennant is telling stories about seeing Billy Connolly with his dad. Because his dad's a minister and his dad never, ever, ever cursed unless he was doing a Billy Connolly bit.
Yeah.
And then it was okay. Because cursing was okay if you were doing the script or if you were doing the bit. But it's not okay otherwise.
See, I would have a Graham Norton quilt, not because I wanted to sleep under it, but I'd pin it up on the wall so I could just talk to him.
Oh, wouldn't it be great?
He's lovely.
Maybe he would let us all come if we brought baked goods.
Baked goods and a quilt.
Baked goods and a quilt.
Yeah.
Seriously. We have superpowers.
Yeah.
We have superpowers.
Oh, we're women. We're inherently born with them.
There we go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Love
and
it.
on that note,
Love it.
we'll see you ladies again. Wow, we'll talk between now and then, but we'll get together in a month to dissect what we've baked, what we've made, because we're obviously going to talk about what we're working on, and all the bits in between. The chocolate chip of life. Ha ha ha.
Oh. I'm going to get off this call and make chocolate peanut butter brownie cookies.
I'm going to get off this call and go to work because I'm
I need to do a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'm early morning. You guys are in the afternoon.
Yeah,
evening.
I've been on calls all day, and I've promised people stuff that I haven't quite gotten out in the email yet. So
it's my Saturday today, so I worked yesterday, so I'm
all right, chilling.
Cath, just quietly, can you get me one of those mugs from Target?
Which one?
Isn't there?
Oh, the Stanley.
What's the thing with the Stanley? I need to.
You want to hear my Stanley story?
What is the thing with the Stanley mugs? I know there's a thing, but I have no idea what it is.
Okay, so look, I had no idea. My first experience, because we loaded some at Christmas. Target had special colors at Christmas. We unloaded them. I noticed them because they were in amongst the clothing. I work in style. And then they were gone like a couple of days later. I was like, no. So not the Sunday we've just had, but the one before. I was in at work and it was 8:02 and the store opened at 8. And the lady who was doing self-checkout was being yelled at by this small, angry woman. And the lady who was running the self-checkout, English was not her first language, and she wasn't quite getting what all the anger was about. And so the lady saw me and said, "You work here?" And I'm like, "Yes, I work here." I had a rack of clothes. "Yes, I work here." She started yelling at me, and she's like, "The Stanley Cups should be out. The Valentine's Stanley Cups, where are they?" And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about. What?" And she's like, "I was told they'll be out at 8:00. And she's just full-blown spit coming out of her mouth, yelling at us about Stanley Cups, and I had no idea what they were. She got like, "I need to speak to the manager." She was pure Karen. It was like she went Karen overload. So I radioed the manager, and my manager was like, "What's it about?" And I said, "It's something about Stanley Cups or something." And she's like, oh. Up until that point, I had no idea. But I got caught we had 22 of them. They were wheeled out onto the floor because this lady was yelling. And this lady just ran. And they had a minimum of 2 each. So she brought her 2 kids in. So her kids had 2. She had 2. Yep. And I was like, this is insane. This is a cup. It's a cup. Yep. And then about 5 days later, Starbucks had one. And we have a Starbucks in the store. And so a group of us gathered to see the crazy because we were like, we'd seen the crazy on Sunday. We're like, yeah, let's see it. Let's see the bloodshed. Let's see the elbowing. Let's see it. And it was a very orderly line. People started lining up at about 4:00 in the morning. The store opened at 8:00. They had 25 cups. And people sort of snaked in through the door, bought their cups and left. No one hit anyone. No one yelled. I had my camera ready for it this time, and I was bitterly disappointed. But I still don't understand
the craze.
I just don't understand. I don't understand.
Me neither.
So this isn't the same Stanley that makes tools, right? Or is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
But there are thermo cups. There are like a hot cold cup.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on the interwebs. It's got a reduced base, so it obviously fits on a cup holder really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 40 ounce. They do a series of them, but it's the 40 ounce one that seems to get the people really riled up. And there was a truck driver later that day, because we were still talking about it because we just had 2 crazy days of Stanley Cups. He's like, I've got one in my truck. I've had it for 25 years. It's a frigging cup. And I'm like, thank you, sir. That is exactly it.
I think it's the colour combo, isn't it? Because it's pink and red.
That was what the crazy was with these 2 drops. There was the Target red and the pink for the Valentines, and they sold out in our store in 7 minutes. And then the Starbucks one was a glittery pink. And they, as soon as the doors opened, the people came through, and everyone who was in line, not everyone got one, but they sold out in the time it took to process those sales.
Yeah, I guess their Christmas one at Starbucks was shiny red. So maybe Starbucks is shiny.
Their Valentine's one was shiny pink, and it was pretty. Don't get me wrong, it was pretty, but it's a cup. It's a $45 cup.
$45?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't do Stanley Cups here, obviously. And every time I say that, I think of the ice hockey. But we've got Yeti. I don't know whether you've got the Yeti brand.
Yeah, we have Yeti.
And they're massive. Like, especially up here in the tropics, everyone's got a Yeti. And they're like $70 or $80 for a standard cup. And I'm like...
Oh, there is a Yeti-only store in our local mall.
Yeah, because apparently they're
really...
only
Yeti, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, they're like Apple about their merch and branding and all that. Like, you have to apply to be a distributor, and which, works for them, and they've created a craze. And if only we could do it with quilt patterns, we'd be laughing.
That'd be fun. Oh, who's gonna make the Stanley Cup quilt pattern?
Oh, but you couldn't, could you? That'd be a breach of copyright shape.
It would be. It's. Well, okay, if we're going to go there, I mean, yes, I've done a TARDIS and Star Wars stuff, but
you don't make money off that.
I deliberately don't make money off it because I don't want to be in trouble with anybody, and there's a weird line in there of fan art, and there's appropriate use for fan purposes. Yeah. But the thing is with, Star Wars and, all of this stuff, I mean, you're up against Disney, Yeah. So, and one of the rules is you don't mess with the mouse, right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean.
Except that now you can do the mouse.
No, just the mouse from Steamboat Willie.
Steamboat Willie, yeah.
And the mouse from there's a plane or something. And that mouse is very controlled. Because I read an article from a IP solicitor lawyer about using the mouse and how many people were running afoul of giving advice out going, oh, you can use any mouse, like Mickey's up for grabs kind of thing. And they're like, no, it is very much
Steamboat Willie, but they did discover a coloured version, so he can be colorized. Because for a long time they were like, no, it's just the black and white. But recently they discovered a coloured version from that period, and that is now opened up colour for him.
But my thing is, right, and I guess it's just a mindset thing, but I would hate for somebody to fan art or plagiarise my work. Yeah. And so I try really hard not to knowingly do that with anybody else. There's heaps of things that I kind of go, I would love to make this, and I know it would sell, but you just kind of go, I don't want to do that.
Well, it's pretty obvious that Disney was never going to make a quilt pattern. I mean, that's one thing. Unless they decide to get into quilt patterns. And again, I said there's this fine art line, but I've always hoped that the fact that I absolutely don't actually make money from these, I should lose money doing it. Is that would keep me in good graces if I ever had to go toe to toe with their lawyers,
Yeah.
So,
and I think that is the criteria, isn't it? You can't make, because you can do stuff for personal use. So Cath, if you want to make that Dave Tennant quilt for a personal use,
that makes it sound so dirty, and I love it. But yes.
I hope you do it, the version of David Tennant doing this. You know that photo that went viral of David? That would be the Saturday Night Live.
That's the one.
So
that's
send me
the
that
one.
picture.
Oh,
it was ironically it was on Graham Norton's show. He showed David Tennant all the memes of him that they'd photoshopped him doing the thing into different, and it's hilarious. Again, I'll put the link in the show notes so people can go and have a chuckle.
Oh yeah.
you're gonna spend like a week linking. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Where's that obscure link that we mentioned on, at minute, 32.2?
Yeah, so, but that's the fun for me, right? Because I get to go back then and look for all the, and I fall down the rabbit hole of, we talked about Freckles, but Freckles leads me into Milo, and Milo leads me into this, and then did it, and so.
We haven't had the Milo discussion because the oats, the malted milk is used a couple of times in the book. And Milo's going to work for one of them, but it's not going to work for a couple of the others because they're a vanilla base.
I'm hoping Horlicks will work because I've used the Carnation malted milk powder here, and it's more about the milk powder than it is about the malt.
But what's interesting is in these recipes, she wants it more about the milk. I have actually read the recipes. I didn't read the beginning of the book, but I have read the recipes. And she wants it more about the milk than the malt. So that milkiness is not going to work for Milo. Look, I've read the recipes. I've read all the flavor variations, and then I'm like, ooh, what else can I do? I'm putting it out there.
My goal is to have her on the podcast with us to talk and actually ask her questions about. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun? I have to say that honestly, I love talking to people who are enthusiastic about what I do. And I know that you do too, Ange. So it's like
I love anyone who's enthusiastic. I love anyone who's enthusiastic about what they love. And like I've done a lot of lecture series or something where I've gone and seen a lecture and I'm like, this is so out of my wheelhouse and it's not something that I'd actually be interested in. But if the person's enthusiastic about it, you're like, yeah, man, I can see why colonizing Mars would be exciting.
Oh, see, that might get my husband on colonizing
Mine too.
Mars.
They could have their own podcast.
Oh, jeez.
This sums up our relationship, right? We went to Houston in 2019 and all three of us, so me, the husband and the kid, and we were at Johnson Space Center before it opened. That's how keen he was. And I had bought him a VIP day tour thing of Johnson Space Center. And so the kid and I were going to just hang around and, be normal tourists. And he was going to go off and do this backstage swim tank thing. And we're standing outside and you can see, and I'm going to get this wrong, which is going to even irk him even more. But we were out the back and is it a 747? Whatever the space shuttle sits on top of the plane thing. And they've got one outside, like one of the originals outside, and you can see it. And so we're all leaning up against the fence looking at this, and there's like that respectful silence falls on the group and we're all looking. And 2 minutes in, I go, look, squirrel. And the kid and I, like both, oh my gosh, it's a squirrel. Look at the squirrel. He's so cute. And we look to my husband and he has this look of disgust on his face and he just deadpan goes, we're standing in front of man's greatest achievement and you two are more excited about the squirrel.
And you're like, too right, sunshine.
To this day, that look on his face will be forever etched in my mind of that pure and utter, not even disgust, but just resigned himself to the fact that we were both dorks and he was stuck with us. But it was first time I saw a squirrel, and quite frankly, they are way cuter than I thought they would be, and they run funny. I expected them to run. Well, I don't know how I expected them to run, but I was surprised by the way they do. It's not a movement I thought they would do. I don't know.
No, I was the same. The first squirrels I saw were in London, and I stood there going, oh, man, these are fascinating. Now I have a whole different feeling about squirrels because they keep eating my bulbs, and I've been asking ways to kill squirrels, and if there is a squirrel on the road, I will purposely scare them out of it, trying to kill it. because they are.
No, I get it.
Yes. So my love of squirrels, which started in 2000 when I saw one for the first time, is now really just pure and utter disdain. They ate all my breed. They ate all my dahlia. They dug up and ate all my dahlia bulbs.
Breathe through the pain.
And the little shits left little half shells of walnuts all along the fence of where the dahlias were planted, saying, yes, it was us. We did it. Here's our calling card.
I was going to say, if you can't beat them, join them. Have you ever thought about just feeding the squirrels so that they don't eat the dahlias? Oh.
It doesn't work. Why do you think there were walnut shells lined up along the fence?
They are bottomless pits.
We were like, here, have some food. Don't eat my plants.
Yeah.
No, so we'll have the food and your plants.
Yeah.
And then we'll be at the back door.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm hungry.
Oh, no, they run across the back fence and just sort of like, look at me run across the back fence. Aren't I clever?
That's what, we got peacocks, right? So we're in Australia where everything's trying to kill you, but we've got peacocks that roam our property, and they're not native to Australia, but they are an introduced species in this area, and so now they're breeding, and it's very cute at the moment. We've got a mama peacock and her baby that visit us, and they're stunning, right? Peacocks have to be one of the most stunning birds ever.
Beautiful.
And so I'm torn between that thing of, I really love looking at you, and their eyes are really beautiful and the little things on their heads, but they do the biggest poops you have ever seen, and they are acidic. And so they are tearing up the paint off our veranda with these giant poops, and I have to be out there cleaning them and getting rid of them. And then I didn't know this about peacocks either. I thought they were like the kiwi. They were flightless, but they can fly a limited range, which just happens to equal our roof height. And so they're on our roof all the time, and they're up there. And then in mating season, you would think a beautiful, gorgeous bird would have the voice of Celine Dion, but it sounds like a murdered goose eating a cat. Like it just, and they're honking and but at like 4 a.m. So
a murdered goose eating a cat in heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's just horrible. And people are like, oh, peacocks, they're so lovely. And I'm like, yeah.
What do they taste like? Like, can you eat peacock?
You can eat peacock, but apparently, so a friend of ours is from India, and she was saying in India that they are a protected species. So it's I want to say bad luck, and there is some sort of metaphysical consequence to eating or spiritual consequence to eating a peacock, and then a legal consequence to killing a peacock. So I don't know. I assumed they'd be like turkey, like
I'll say everything tastes like chicken, right? Alligator tastes like chicken. Snake tastes like chicken.
Because when we were in Cambridge in the UK, we did the punting tour down the river, and the swans and everything were on there. And Cambridge was one of the first places in the UK where they used to kill the swans for royalty. And there is a law that's never been repealed in the UK that only royalty can eat swan. And so, but apparently the guide was saying that the legend has it that swan actually is a really tasty bird. So we should probably see if Yossi would do a swan peacock baked good.
Squirrel.
Actually, there is a recipe in one of the books that a friend called out to me that it's a like cheesy jalapeno cornbread. It's not a sweet.
No. And I was thinking that there is a recipe I've seen on the Great British Bake Off, which we haven't touched in our first episode, and I'm very proud of us, where you can make meringue swans. So they do I love a good meringue.
No.
Can't do marshmallow, but I love a good meringue.
Okay,
but I love a pav.
Cath makes the best pav this side of the ocean, right?
Yeah.
No, Cath makes an amazing pav.
Do you want to know why, Angie, you'll get this? I always have half a suitcase of pavlova magic coming home with me on family
See, this
trips.
is funny, right? So I'm a late convert to pavlova because I don't like marshmallow, so I just assumed it would be similar to marshmallow, right? And Ray Lee, who does all my quilting from Sunflower Stitcheries, we used to go to her house for Christmas lunch when we lived in Canberra, and she makes a pav for Christmas lunch, dessert, follow-up thing. And so being polite, I'm like, yes, I'll have some pav. And it was amazing, right? So then I was like, okay, I have to learn how to make – and for those listening at home, pav equals pavlova. So then when she was up here visiting the first time, I think, she taught me how to make her pavlova, and it's amazing. And then at Christmas time, our church puts together Christmas hampers, and one of the things that they include in the Christmas hamper is the pavlova magic egg thing. And my parents were like, who would make this? And like, I remember it from the 80s, but now I know, Cath, people actually do use them.
So I mean, I've made pavlovas here from scratch, but my American friends, not just Sam, are easily impressed by pavlova. So it's like, pavlova magic is foolproof. I mean, it really is foolproof.
They need a scone magic.
So yeah,
if they came out with a scone magic where your scones didn't.
Oh, I have the recipe for that.
Scones where they didn't turn out like bricks.
Oh no, I have the recipe for that. I used to make coffee cups, and
my sister gave me a lemonade.
Yeah, I've got
recipe
the lemonade one too, and it's
and it's.
We'll have to do a whole episode on.
It hasn't.
We'll have to do a whole episode on scone versus scone.
Oh, and I have apparently there's a controversy about whether jam goes before cream or cream goes before jam.
Oh, jam then cream. Why would you put jam on top of cream?
Yeah, why would you? Yeah, no, it doesn't work. You've got to put the jam down first.
It's a consistency thing.
And then you put jam on the other side of the scone. So you basically have scone, jam, cream,
scone,
jam, scone.
See, the two Aussies here know how it's done.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to stay quiet for a minute.
All right, I'm going to wrap it up, and we will meet again in a month. I've enjoyed our time together. Thank you very much. And, see ya.
Thanks for listening to the Fussy Cutters podcast. Enjoyed listening? Why not subscribe so you'll never miss an episode? Did you know the quickest way to the heart of any podcaster is to leave a review or recommend the podcast to a friend? It's true, it is. Until next week, get out there and fondle that fabric.